So when the rumors started floating about Dalvin Cook, I thought it was an embarrassment of riches. I thought, we don't need this guy, right? We have so much talent on this team. We have these young running backs. Brees Hall is going to come back. We'll be fine. Why do we need Dalvin Cook? And I thought to myself that a lot of this was something that I feared with the Jets for a long time, especially in the last couple of years. Woody Johnson's running the show. And since Woody Johnson came back, he wants to put his stamp on this team. He wants to build a super team, quote unquote, and he wants to bring in Dalvin Cook, even though it's not necessary. Cook is older. I don't think a team like the Vikings would just cut Cook for no reason. It didn't make sense to me. There's got to be something. There's some red flags here. And I really wasn't sure about it. I love Brees Hall. I like Michael Carter. I like Bam Knight. I like Izzy Abanikanya, who they just drafted. There are all these Jets players that they have, and I was confused why the Jets were going for Dalvin Cook. I maybe just to take him away from the Patriots or take him away from the Dolphins, which was rumored that he'd be going there. I don't know. Yeah, addition by subtracting him from the other team, making sure another team can't pick him up. Sure. But did it really make sense to give a guy this much money at a position that you don't need really a guy there, and to give him a lot of money and maybe even a 2-year contract? Didn't make a ton of sense to me. Then when it started slowing down and he leaves, I'm like, okay, maybe this is Joe Douglas, who, by the way, was not in the first episode of Hard Knocks at all. I don't know if you noticed that. Maybe that's the Jets censorship. We'll definitely know. If he's not on an episode, this is the creator. This is the architect of this team. If he's not featured on the episode of Hard Knocks tonight, that to me tells me that the Jets are the ones holding him out of these episodes. That's my personal opinion, but I don't think I'm wrong about that. But I wasn't so sure about Dalvin Cook, but I think Joe Douglas was saying, okay, I'm not going to jump all in. There's all these rumors. There's him going on Good Morning Football and saying, I want to be a Jet. I'm going to be a Jet. It's basically almost done. Him showing up and then leaving without a contract and then hearing nothing for about a week and a half kind of tells me that Joe Douglas was still going to stand firm. And when Aaron Rodgers took the pay cut, people just assumed right away, okay, they'll just sign Dalvin Cook for whatever. And Woody Johnson, maybe if he was actually just running the show, they would have signed him 2 weeks ago for $15 million over 2 years, right? Maybe $15 million and like another $7 million next year. And that would make no sense to me. And I think what ended up happening was right after Zeke signs with the Patriots, you hear that like $6 million for Ezekiel Elliott feels like a lot. That guy's not that good. And then you ultimately sign Dalvin Cook, who still is coming off a way better season than Ezekiel Elliott was. And he's coming back and he's coming to the Jets. That's incentive based. That can only get up to about $8.5 million. I say only, but for a 1-year deal, a lower contract, I guess it makes sense. I can't be mad about adding a guy. Yes, it's embarrassment of riches at that position, but can I really be upset about adding a guy who's a really, really good running back, still clearly was a really good running back in the league last year? You bring Brees Hall back a little slowly, and that was my first reaction. Like, okay, maybe Brees isn't coming back right away, but this also puts an incredible amount of pressure on the running backs room. This kind of makes a tension in camp, which we've seen there is a pressure in camp, which pressure is not a bad thing.